Good morning, everyone. I am in Garden of the Gods. This is a park in Colorado, more specifically Colorado Springs, Colorado. This is not an under-the-radar destination. This is probably one of the more popular tourist sites in the state of Colorado, but I've never been here before, so I wanted to pay it a brief visit, just a quick little visit here before I head further east today. Garden of the Gods is known for these fins of sandstone rising up. Really beautiful spot. Tons of people here though. And this is also a popular climbing area. I don't know if you can see, but there are a couple of climbers up on top there. I'm going to visit 4 different states in this video, 3 of which I've never shown before in an SUV RVing video, one of which I've never ever been to, so I'm excited. Stay tuned, it'll be a fun adventure today. I think maybe a little bit into tomorrow too. Someone should write a book all about balanced rocks in the US. There are enough of them to fill a book. This guy is just precariously perched on the little sandstone platform underneath it here. I stopped in town here in Colorado Springs to a place called Vienna Station. It's a little hot dog parlor, I guess. And it's got a great view of Pikes Peak up there. But yeah, I'm just waiting for my hot dog to be done. Here's the dog. I got the Texas dog. It's like their spicy one, has jalapenos and I don't remember what else, onions, tomatoes, peppers. Also got some fries. Gonna enjoy this while I stare off into the mountains. I was actually just up there a couple hours ago, but that would have been in the last video for you guys. Great little hot dog, tasty fries. It's a beautiful day today. The weather is nice. It's like 65 degrees and sunny right now. I'm just in a good mood. And that's good because I now have about 3 straight hours of driving to do to the second state of the day. And I'll do some footage of the drive there, but mostly I'll just drive, keep my head down, keep my foot on the gas pedal, and I'll see you guys once I get there. Welcome to Kansas. And to be honest, this is exactly what I thought Kansas would look like. Well, friends, out here on the high plains, 3 hours east of Colorado Springs, I present to you Mount Sunflower, the highest point in Kansas. You guys know that I'm working my way through, visiting the highest point, climbing the highest point in each state in the US. This is state number 15 for me, I think. Mount Sunflower here isn't really a mountain. It's not really discernible from the plains around here. Reminds me of the one that I went to, the highest point in Nebraska. Panorama Point? Is that what it's called? Same kind of thing, just out in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by fields. This is private land here, but they let people come visit the high point. This is my first time in Kansas, and I think this is actually the only thing I'm going to be seeing or doing here, unless I find something interesting en route to my next destination. This tattered little sign here talks about how this is a working cattle ranch. And the art here is surprisingly good. The sunflower here is made out of chain of some kind. And we have another sunflower over here made out of railroad ties. We have a little memorial for people who homesteaded in this area in 1906. And then your classic distance to various places from here. Kit Carson, Colorado, which I drove through not too long ago. Drayton, North Dakota, never heard of it. Florence, South Dakota. Stockholm, Sweden. And what is that? Bjärred, Sweden. Maybe that's where the people who own this land are originally from, ancestrally. Really cool. I love stuff like this. Like, I would have no reason to come out to the high plains of Kansas if I weren't doing the state high pointing thing, but I'm glad I am. I'm glad I came out here. There really is a beauty to this kind of terrain, this kind of landscape. As I've been driving this way for the last few hours, it started off kind of rolling, then it got gradually flatter as I got farther east toward the Kansas border. And this kind of landscape has the same beauty that the desert has. It's just wide open, there's nothing, it's empty. Out here I can see some windmills in the distance, a few ranch houses, some cows, and not much else. It's great. Well, 2.5 hours later, I'm at the next spot, next point of interest. The sun has now set. It's set about 5 minutes ago, so I need to get going and find a campsite pretty soon here. But I wanted to stop at this place, and I said that Mount Sunflower was the only thing in Kansas that I wanted to see, but I had forgotten about this place. This is called Point of Rocks. There are a few different signs here, and this one is especially interesting, I think. It talks about how this area was hit especially hard by the Dust Bowl in the 1930s, and it says that in the 1950s and 60s there were long furrows, long, I guess, trenches dug in the landscape out here as erosion control measures so that future things like the Dust Bowl would be minimized. The effects would be minimized, at least. Somewhere out there are the lines. Yeah, just a really, really beautiful place. But it is time to go find a campsite, so let's get out of here. This area is national grassland. That's where I am now, and that's also where I'm gonna try to find a campsite. I'm gonna look at the map. I get pretty good cell phone reception out here, so I'm gonna look at dirt roads, see if I can find a dirt road that leads off to what looks like a good place to camp. Okay, here's camp for tonight. Sorry for the grainy footage. That's what happens when it gets dark like this. Got some nice prickly pear down here. Some nice yucca. It's not an amazing campsite. It's not really much of a campsite. It's just kind of like the fork of a dirt road. Like one branch goes off this way, one branch goes off this way, and I'm parked kind of right in the middle. But there's no traffic out here. I think I'll be good here tonight. And here's looking in the other direction. Again, it's pretty dark right now. Made it to camp just in time. Not a bad spot for my first campsite in the state of Kansas. The day is over, but this video is not yet. The adventures will be continuing in the morning, so I'll see you guys in about, I don't know, 10 or 11 hours. Good morning, and welcome to the highest point in Oklahoma. Or at least the parking lot to the highest point in Oklahoma. And as stated on this sign over here, it's about an 8.5 mile round trip hike. Looks like there's a trail register I should sign. You guys have never seen me in Oklahoma before. I've never filmed in Oklahoma before, but I've actually been to Oklahoma several times. You might not know that I grew up in Texas, in a suburb of Dallas, from the ages of, I guess, 3 to 14. So 11 years I lived in Texas. That's where I grew up. While living in Texas, I went to Oklahoma several times. I was in the Boy Scouts, and so I remember going to the Wichita Mountains in Oklahoma, which were beautiful mountains. We went rock climbing there and camping there. And then I remember my church youth group we got volunteered to go to Oklahoma to do cleanup for a tornado. A really bad tornado had come through a town, and I don't remember what town it was, but it leveled a bunch of houses and buildings in town, so we went there to basically do cleanup to remove debris and that kind of thing. And so I have been to Oklahoma, but I'm in the very top left corner of Oklahoma, the very corner of the panhandle sticking out to the west. And as you can see, it's a beautiful area. Really pretty, definitely feels like the West. You know, it doesn't feel like the Great Plains. Well, 45 minutes into the hike, I don't have a ton to report. Scenery is still beautiful. The sun has risen a little bit higher in the sky. I've gone 2 miles according to the bench right here. It says mile 2 on it. There's one of these every mile, as I understand it. This is the terrain I've been traveling over. And pretty soon here, I'm going to be going up the mesa here. So at some point, I'm not entirely sure where, the trail is going to go. It's going to climb up to the top of this, then continue going over. This whole thing is Black Mesa, but the actual high point of the mesa is over this way. Now this is interesting. There's an emergency water cache up here. Not really needed this time of year, but I'm sure in the summer it's really, really hot out here. Made it to the edge of the mesa. And of course the views just keep getting better and better as I get higher. And I think that's basically all of the difficulty done. I think I just have flat walking along the mesa top this way to do. Oh, what's this in the distance? It's like a monument of some sort. I think that's where our journey up here ends. We've got this 9 or 10 foot high granite obelisk here. Each side is pointing to one of the cardinal directions and has a little bit of information on it. On this side, I don't know if you can see this, it's completely dark. It says New Mexico, 1,299 feet due west. So it's really close, just over this way. And Los Angeles is 895 miles away. It also says this is the highest point in Oklahoma, 4,972.97 feet above sea level. The south side says that Texas is 31 miles due south, and that the highest point was determined by a survey completed in 1954. The east side, Kansas is 53 miles from here, and New York City is 1,605 miles. And north of here is Colorado, 4.7 miles away. And this is kind of interesting. There's a map here too. So I'm right here. This is where the highest point is. The lowest point in this state is also marked on the complete opposite end, basically as far away from here as you could get. I think Oklahoma is the 16th state high point that I've done. Kansas yesterday was 15, I think, and this is 16. With this, I have just one more state before I've done all of the West. I'll put a map up right here showing the states that I've completed, the high points that I've climbed. And so I think you can probably guess the next state high point that I'm doing. So stay tuned for that. Overall, this is a really beautiful area. Really beautiful hike. I would end the video here, but there's one more thing that I want to stop and see. I might not be able to find it, but I'm gonna look for it as long as I'm in this area. So I'm gonna relax up here a little bit longer with the obelisk as a backrest. I'll enjoy the view. Actually, let me show you the view before I end this part of the video. The view from the top itself actually isn't that great. It's much better from the hike from the rim of the mesa back that way, the edge of the mesa, because you can actually see from up here. The mesa is just so broad that there aren't really views. You can just see a little bit of land, just little strips in every direction here. Still really pretty though. There's a little bench. And that's it. The bench, the obelisk, and lots of prickly plants. I'm gonna have a snack here, relax a little bit, take in the beautiful morning, and then I'm gonna hike back down. I'm not gonna film the hike down, but I'll start filming again once I get to the last spot that I want to show you in this video, which is pretty close to where I parked. It's pretty close to the parking area. It should be just a few minute drive from there. Okay, an hour and 20 minutes later, I made it back down to the trailhead and I drove just around the corner. I mean, I can still literally see the Black Mesa parking area right there. Apparently somewhere down in here, somewhere in this creek, are dinosaur prints, dinosaur tracks. Let's go see if we can find them. Apparently these tracks are kind of hard to find and they get refilled in with sediment from time to time, so let's see here. Okay, so I think this is supposed to be a line of dinosaur prints. They look like the three-toed ones, like a giant turkey track. You can kind of see it with this one here. These others are a little bit indistinct, and this place is marked on Google Maps. That's how I found it. And they mention that they're kind of indistinct, the prints, and that you might want to bring a little whisk broom or a paintbrush to clean the dirt and sand out of them. I do not have a whisk broom or a paintbrush. Still neat though. There are a few spots that have been cleared from dirt like this. Is that a print? I can't quite tell. This too. And this. Those ones don't look quite as dinosaurish to me, but I'll leave that for people who know more about dinosaurs than I do to decide. And I think this video is going to come to an end now. I'm not entirely sure yet what I'm going to do with the rest of my day. I'm going to drive back into Colorado, but I'm still undecided as to what I'm going to see and do along the way, if anything, or if I just want to drive straight there and maybe do some fishing once I get back to the mountains of Colorado. Not sure yet. I need to look at my phone to figure out how long it takes to get to these different places, but hope you guys enjoyed this video. Something a little bit different from me as far as different scenery goes, but also something pretty familiar in the sense that it's all hiking, it's all beautiful places. I think I said earlier in this video that I was going to visit 4 states. I only visited 3 in this video. The original plan was to spend the night last night in Texas, in far north Texas. There's some national grassland in the far northern end of the panhandle there. But by the time I got to Nebraska, it was dark, and so I had to find a campsite, which is just as well because I have camped a lot in Texas. You know, growing up, I camped in Texas a lot, and I've camped in Texas as an adult. When I first bought my RAV4, I bought it in Texas and drove to Big Bend and camped there, but I had never camped in Kansas before, so that worked out well. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.